Padan Guru Maharaj.
Please bless me, Prabhu. Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Amritakali Mataji. Om Ajnanatimira Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manubhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Thank you for all of your presence, dear devotees. Please seek your blessings for empowerment to present today's discussion on the 16th verse of the 3rd canto, 1st chapter. Very wonderful chapter. The chapter name is called Questions by Vidura. So from the beginning of this chapter itself, there was a, I can say, little hesitation to present the character of Vidura. So basically, in the beginning of the chapter, it starts with this Pandava's place is said to be the Krishna's abode, because they are such dear devotees of Krishna, and Krishna consider their home as their home, and Vidura happened to leave that place. Then it created some kind of a anxiety in their inquisitiveness. Why did he leave the place of abode of Krishna? And also it kind of triggers attraction for the materialistic people or conditioned people. Is he so upset that he left the place? But all through the discussion, it was always clarified that he is a pure devotee, Amala Atmanaha. So this is the section where there are events that led to Vidura to leave the palace and go. So far we went through the verses where the events took place. Basically, Vidura was called for advice, and Vidura comes, and Vidura advises Dhritarashtra, just give up this Purushadvid. He's your son of yours. Enough is enough. You have done enough. Following his advice, which is irreligion, and you have done enough to put yourself into a problem. At least you need to give him up. He is your enemy, and and so on. So when why did Vidura spoke like that? He is the dearmost brother of Dhritarashtra. He is, of course, where we went through this section yesterday. He is Dasiputra. He is not own brother or one's own. Directly he was born to a queen, but he was the son of a Dasi in the kingdom, for the king. So, but there is a nice affection between Dhritarashtra and Vidura. So out of that relationship, Vidura gives this very strong advice, and he didn't hesitate to give in front of everyone, where Duryodhana is there with his friends Karna and then Sakuni. But the interesting thing happened is um, Duryodhana, you know, gets loses himself. He just says, "Let's go to the verses." What he says. Hmm. Yeah, let me read from text 13. So where Vidura is giving the advice to Dur- uh, Dhritarashtra. You are maintaining offense personified, Duryodhana, as your infallible son, but he is envious of Lord Krishna. And because you are thus maintaining a non-devotee of Krishna, you are devoid of all auspicious qualities. Relieve yourself of this ill fortune as soon as possible and do good to the whole family. While speaking thus, Vidura, whose personal character was esteemed by respectable persons, was insulted by Duryodhana, who was swollen with anger and whose lips were trembling. Duryodhana was in company with Karna, his younger brothers, and his maternal uncle Sakuni. Here Duryodhana says, "Who asked him to come here? The son of a kept mistress. He is so crooked that he spies in the interest of the enemy against those on whose support he has grown up. Toss him out of palace immediately and leave him with only his breath." So, for a respectable personality like Vidura, hearing this was not easy. And it is mentioned in this chapter. Let me share my screen in this verse. It is like marmasu. Marmasu means it hit the core of the heart. It's also translated as it hit the soft pieces of the heart when Duryodhana spoke like this. He says, uh, toss him, toss him out of the family immediately, leave him only his breath. It was such a shock, and it it afflicted his heart. Thaditopi is the marmashu, is the soft corners of the heart, and thaditopi, it afflicted it. But how is this afflicted with this? Because of the severely atyulbana karnabane, by the words of by the arrows uh, through his ears. It was not easy. So then what he does is, so he takes the bow, which he took it up out of his affection for his brother Dhritarashtra. They both have affectionate relationship. Still, it stays. It doesn't go away right now. It stays till the end. And he keeps it near to the door, Dvari, Nidaya, and he sees the action of Maya, and therefore he doesn't feel sorry. Geta Vyato. So Prabhupada focuses on this one. And also it's important to do this part when one is going through the affliction, affliction by the because of the other person's words. And yaduru manayanaha. So thinking, he himself did swayam. He himself took the bow before Duryodhana can take any further action and keeps it there. And he leaves the brother's palace, Bratupura. So with that, we will go into this verse. Swayam dhanudvari nidaya mayam bratu puro marma sutaditopi sayittam atyulbana karna bhaner gato yato yaduru manayanaha. We'll go again. Swayam dhanudvari nidaya mayam Swayam dhanudvari nidaya mayam Bratu puro marma sutaditopi Bratu puro marma sutaditopi Sayittam atyulbana karna bane Sayittam atyulbana karna bane Gata vyato yaduru manayanaha Gata vyato yaduru manayanaha. Thus being pierced by the arrows through his ears and afflicted to the core of his heart, Vidura placed his bow on the door and quit his brother's palace. He was not sorry. Sorry. He was not sorry, for he considered the acts of the external energy to be the supreme. It's a very nice purport. Only we'll be focusing on 3 points. First one, a pure devotee of the Lord is never perturbed by an awkward position created by the external energy of the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita 3:27, it is stated, Prakrute kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasaha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. A conditioned soul absorbed in material existence under the influence of different modes of material energy. Absorbed in the false ego, he thinks that he is doing everything by himself. The external energy of the Lord, the material nature, is fully under the control of the Supreme Lord, and the conditioned soul is fully under the grip of the external energy. Therefore, the conditioned soul is fully under the control of the law of the Lord. But due to illusion only, he thinks himself independent in his activities. Duryodhana was acting under such influence of the external energy, by which he would be vanquished at the ultimate end. He could not accept the sound advice of Vidura, but on the contrary, he insulted that great soul, who was a well-wisher of his whole family. But whereas Vidura, is a part 2, could understand this because he was a pure devotee of the Lord. In spite of being very strongly insulted by Duryodhana's words, Vidura could see that Duryodhana, under the influence of Maya, the external energy, was making progress on the path towards his own ruination. He therefore considered the acts of external energy to be the supreme. Yet he also saw how the internal energy of the Lord helped him in that particular situation. A devotee is always in a renounced temperament because the worldly attraction can never satisfy him. Vidura was never attracted by the royal palace of his brother. He was always ready to leave the place and devote himself completely to the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Now he got the opportunity by the grace of Duryodhana, and instead of being sorry at the strong words of insult, he thanked him from within because it gave him the chance to live alone in a holy place and fully engage in the devotional service of the Lord. The word gatavyataha, without being sorry, is very significant here because Vidura was relieved from the tribulations which trouble every man entangled in material activities. He therefore thought that there was no need to defend his brother with his bow because his brother was meant for ruination. Thus, he left the palace before Duryodhana could act. Maya, the supreme energy of the Lord, acted here both internally and externally. Such a nice purport, no? There was a lot of discussion from the Sunday after the class. Many devotees were saying, how do I practice Krishna consciousness enthusiastically and fun actually, and how it is easy, what are the practical ways, and so on. This is important for the practitioners, for not just for practitioner, for anyone actually. They need to, when they are on a mission, they need to keep moving, and how we move about is also important. So just a short quote. Similar thing happens with Amba in Mahabharata, and she chooses, she doesn't feel sorry, but she feels revengeful on Bhishma when she ends up having no one to marry her. For that reason, she actually wastes her life doing the tapasya to take revenge on him, and even the next life event, she takes the birth as a, Salya, someone, right? The half man and half woman position, and becomes the cause of the death of the Bhishma, and lives and fulfills her revenge. But that didn't stop Bhishma. Yes, she just became instrument for his advancement. It is pretty important. The point here is it's pretty important, for us to take the course of action consciously and deliberately. Things will keep happening. But in any case, I want to bring a different story in this Bhagavatam, which I was stunned by this. It was in the chapter 89 of 10th canto, where I think Bhrigu, his name is Bhrigu, Bhrigu Muni was assigned the task of finding who is the Supreme Lord. Is it Shiva? Is it Brahma? Or is it Lord Vishnu? So when it comes to Vishnu, it was like too bad. And I was really like stunned reading that verse. And I was also asking Shadrupa that, okay, Krishna is showing such an example. Do you have any devotees who are insulted by others? Do you have examples of devotees who was insulted so badly, and how did they respond? Did they respond like this? So I'm also, leave that question to you as I go through this small story in the 89th chapter. So it was from 10th canto, 89th chapter, 8 to 9 text. The text goes like, Sayanam Sriya Usange. Once upon a time, Lord Vishnu, let me stop sharing. Once upon a time, Lord Vishnu, he is on the lap of Shriya, the goddess of fortune, on his bed. On Pada Vakshasi, but he was on the bed with Lakshmi Devi, and he was having his head in the lap of Lakshmi Devi. There comes Pada Vakshati Athadayat. Someone comes and kicks Athadayat with their foot, Pada. And where do they kick? On the chest of Vishnu, Vakshasi, Pada Vakshasi Athadayat. Tata Uttaya Bhagavan. So Bhagavan gets up. Saha Lakshmaya Satam Gatihi. He is said to be the destination of all the pure devotees. And, along with Lakshmi, he gets up. What does he do after getting up? Swatalpad Ahuruhyata. Swatalpad means he gets up from his bed. From the bed, Ahuruhya, he climbs down. Ata, then what did you do? It was like this thing to me. Nanama Sirasa Muni. He bowed down his head to the Munim, to the sage. Right? Krishna was doing it. I was thinking, if our master who we are worshipping, who are trying to be devotee is setting and that in such an example, oh my God, how are we to conduct ourselves? And after that he says, Ahate Swagatam Brahman, please come, O Brahmana. Nishida, please sit here. Nishida Trasane, please sit in the seat for a moment, for Kshanam. Ajanatam Agataha Vaha. We are sorry, please forgive us. Ajanatam, we didn't realize that you have come. Agat Kshantu Marhata, na Prabhu, please forgive us. Isn't it such a high example? So here the commentary was that not only was the Lord Vishnu taking rest, but he was lying with his head in his wife's lap. But Bhrigu struck him on this position, not with his hand, but with his foot. It was worse than any other offense Bhrigu could have imagined. And Prabhupada also says, of course, Lord Vishnu is very merciful. He did not become angry at the activities of Bhrigu Muni, for Bhrigu Muni was a great Brahmana. A Brahmana is to be excused even if you sometimes commit an offense, and Lord Vishnu sets the example. That's it, Prabhu. This is the standard Bhagavatam is giving. how to handle if someone speaks harsh at you, what to speak of, harsh action on the Supreme Lord Himself. Um, so we see here Vidura. Um, he was badly afflicted for sure. It's mentioned here, and he expresses his affliction in the actually in the same chapter when he was talking with Uddhava. He mentioned that he feels sorry for Dhritarashtra, that and that he could not do anything. And also we know that from the first canto, after Vidura has uh, found the right time, he comes to the palace just for relieving Dhritarashtra, and he takes him off, and Dhritarashtra somehow ends up getting liberated from all his sinful reactions, though he could not become a devotee because of Vidura's affection, Vidura's mercy. He gets purified. So, um, for that matter, it strongly affected him. It strongly affected Vidura to the core of his heart. But there is a but here. He saw Krishna there. He saw Krishna in the form of external energy to Duryodhana, really like following from the previous verses. Duryodhana was bereft of all the piety, and when the piety is gone, how the destruction comes is like this. One starts disregarding the great personalities, and then starts committing offense, and not just disregard. After that, it not just regard. One starts insulting. That's it. That's a recipe for distraction. I think in the next 3 chapters, it comes what was the reason why what was the reason for the destruction of Yadus, and it was mentioned there that how the great sages, they don't curse the great personalities easily, nor the great personalities put themselves into such curseful situation. In that section, I was taking note that if Krishna wants to bring destruction, he sends his brahmanas, so they get offended and all those things. Just a note, it's my, don't take it seriously. But here we are seeing directly that how Duryodhana is bringing his destruction by insulting badly the great personality, that who was the most respected person ever in that place. And Vidura able to see that, although he was Taditopi, afflicted severely, Atyulbana, is able to see how the Krishna's external energy is leading him. On the same time, he is also able to see Krishna's internal energy helping him out. So that is, we're coming close to the hour. So yeah, so that it's important to see how the modes are acting, especially we also go through a lot of anatha nivritti, and we should always see Krishna there first. We should bring our attention to Krishna, and we should go to Krishna, and it's our prerogative to keep enlivened and to keep enthused in Krishna consciousness. Then we will see all the magic happening. So that's it, Prabhus. How Vidura had handled this situation of strong words of his his brother's son Duryodhana. So he just Swayam Dhanurdvari Nidaya Mayam, he put his bow away by himself, and then he left the palace. Bratu Puro Marmasu Taditopi Saitto Matulban Karnabanir Katavyata Yaduru Manayana. Hare Krishna. Any would like to anyone want to say some reflections further enhance the topic, or you
Hare
remember
Krishna.
any example?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All yours to Guru Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Very wonderful, Prabhuji. You're bringing that example of Amba story in here. That's a nice comparison. I mean, how the two personalities react, they go in opposite directions. And Amba took it to her next life to fulfill her this thing, revenge.
And we
then
don't know whether she finished it that time.
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah, we don't know. Yeah, Sikandi, but
Sikandi,
Sikandi is. Does it occur in the Vishnu Sahasranama? I'm thinking Sikandi, and then of course the other situation, Brahmani. That's the most intolerable moment that in all of scriptures actually. But when I connect with Bhagavad Gita, Lord says, among sages, I am Bhrigu. Among the Munis. So it's so that consoles me a little bit. At least it's he himself acting on that way, Anyway, it's a very most intolerable moment. Anyway, thank you very much, Prabhu, for bringing these big, great stories in connection with this verse. And when we think of Lord Srinivasa taking birth, taking his incarnation, because Lakshmi protested, Bhrigumuni acting this way, and then Lord Srinivasa appearing. That makes some kind of, this was a necessary event in the whole of Vishnu Purana. It seems like there was the consequence was the appearance of Lord Srinivas. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna.
Thank you for distilling the points, Mataji. I feel it's difficult to present the subject matter in that nice, concise way as you put it. And also my apologies for bringing the story of Lord Vishnu. It's not a favorite for the devotees, but I was just blown up by that example.
No, Prabhu, it was very nice how you got so emotional, and it was very nice you are reading the Duryodhana verse. I mean, you try to put in your maximum, but you can not go there actually to go. Your nature is so opposite, but you are trying to imitate Duryodhana. Hare Krishna. You are so gentle, and you are reading Duryodhana's words. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I'm sorry, I just got carried away a little bit. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhu. I felt it so practical, and how you have connected that. And you also answered, yesterday we were discussing, Lakshmikant Prabhu was asking, we are seeing how much Vidura was offended, but at the same time, if you see from Duryodhana's perspective, he is also hearing those very sharp words which might have pinched his heart. So Prabhu was asking, so what could have his response? And you have beautifully brought out how Vidura responded. So both of them in the same situation. Of course, you have brought up Lord Vishnu and Amba's story, but we can see next to each other, they had to face these very severe, offending words and treatment from the other, and how both of them chose completely opposite reactions. Which one has, got elevated and he was able to meet all these great devotees, Uddhava, Maitreya, and everyone, and the other completely, got to ruination.
Thank you for this point, wonderful point, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. The other thing I really appreciated as you were describing, he actually came back for Dhritarashtra. So we have seen, and we were trying to tell someone, and they don't pay any attention. They're like, okay, whatever. Of course, Dhritarashtra directly didn't say, but when Duryodhana was saying this, he didn't object. So that means, partly Dhritarashtra was also kind of contributing or agreeing with what Duryodhana was saying.
Yeah.
So once if we see that, we don't really care about that person anymore. It's like, okay, forget about them. I have tried so much all my life to love them, care for them, and help them. And this is what, forget about it. I'm not going to bother. But
Yeah.
it's the mood of service. Even though he left, but the place or the platform is so much of mood of service
Yes.
that he came back, and that's like unimaginable. So
That's
you
the
have.
important point Prabhupada brings it, Gata Vyataha.
Mm,
He didn't have any. The point here is, Vidra has been a saint all along.
mm.
He is, he's not, he didn't leave the things upside. He even thanked Duryodhana from within.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
so he
it's
didn't
it's so
have any of
beautiful.
these negative things. If you go from the, if you take something in a negative, that's it. We are really damaging ourselves. Like, in the
Mm.
case of Dhritarashtra, not in the case of Duryodhana,
Duryodhana.
or
Mm.
even Amba.
Yeah.
Actually, here is a secret. Actually, for all material existence, this is the reason. The way, of course, there's a karma that extends that keeps the people's existence in this world, but that karma gets triggered through these small interactions, and
Mm.
then and that happens during the childhood time for the souls, and they live you know they live the whole life just for one of those two reasons. If we dig into our lives, why am I doing this, why am I doing this? So we go to that place where someone did this to me, someone said to this to me, I want to prove myself, I want to be worthy, so on. Like, there are different variations it goes, but that's the root of material existence, or root of the life people are living in this world, actually.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. That's a very ultimate thing to learn, is that point. And the other day we read some verse in which it was said, when your pious credits are running out, you are forced into such situations. I mean, where the harsh speech and that's what happened.
Yes.
I forgot that verse and that context.
Yeah.
The pious credits are over for that person. That means Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Very nice points that, when we face this situation, we should focus on the increasing the price credits, and for sure remembering Krishna. So, connecting Krishna is the great increase of price credits, and save ourselves from the negative actions, that is leading to the fall down. Very nice points. Thank you, Sandhya Mataji, Amritakali Mataji. Amritakali Mataji, did I stop you? I think you muted in between.
No, Prabhu. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
That's it then. Thank you for all your presence. Well, we are very grateful for this wonderful Srimad Bhagavatam and a wonderful personality, Bhagavata personality, Srila Prabhupada. Let's all hang on to their shelter much more strong, and ever feel grateful for their causeless compassion and causeless shelter on all of us. And let's go together, and in that journey, it will be a nice service to the whole community and the world. Thank you. Hare Krishna.